That sounds fun. That sounds fun. Check 1, 2 on the microphone. Annie F down in your car to your home. Every week it's something new. A deep talk or an interview. She'll make you laugh, she'll make you cry. When it's dark out, she's a light. When you're down, get you feeling right. Oh man, that sounds fun.
Hi friends, welcome to our first 2024 episode of That Sounds Fun. I'm your host, Annie F. Downs, and as always, I am so happy to be here with you. First off, that new song though, do you recognize the artist? Oh y'all, I cannot even begin to thank Ben Rector and Dave Haywood from Lady A for creating such a fun song for such a special new year on the show. When it was finished, Ben's text to Dave and I was, see y'all at the Grammys. So I think the guys like the song as well. Here's a bit of a cheat. For the last couple of days, I recorded with our first few guests of the year, and my jaw is already on the ground about all that God has for us in 2024. The other week when I asked on socials why you guys hang out with me, which is a weird question, but it was so clarifying, the majority of people mentioned wanting to grow spiritually. I'm telling y'all, I don't know all that God is up to this year, but I know he is up to something good for us. Epiphany feels like just the start. This year is already special. That's one of the reasons starting the year with 3 episodes of Let's Read the Gospels felt totally right. And I'm so happy that y'all are so happy with the 1 chapter a day rhythm. If you're not reading and listening along there, consider this your invitation to join. I hope you'll join us as we continue to read the Gospels together. Okay, so Epiphany. Gosh, I love today. I literally told someone today, I think Epiphany is my favorite day of the year. And Epiphany on a Saturday, I am really excited about that. It feels too special. Y'all know every single thing has deep meaning to me. Nothing is casual or accidental. So I feel these extra goosebumpy moments of wondering what God is up to. I fell in love with Epiphany and how God uses it in my life in 2017 when it was on a Friday. You can read more about that in my book, Remember God. The next year, 2018, it was on a Saturday. I was at On-Site, an intensive counseling experience that lasted for about a week. It was no accident. And today, back on a Saturday, what a gift. You may already know this about me, but practicing Sabbath is a rhythm that really matters in my life. And I usually do that on Saturdays. And Epiphany is an important day to me too. And it's the last day of Christmastide, the technical 12th day of Christmas. It's the day where we celebrate the wise men finding Jesus and offering their gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. So when the two coincided, double happy for your girl AFD. Okay, so on this Epiphany, here's what I'm actually going to do today. I'm finally sitting down at my own house in my swirly chair and processing 2023. You know me, one of the reasons Sabbath is so important for me is that it gives me a chance to actually reflect and feel 2 activities that my personality doesn't naturally do. I'm doing my version of answering the questions that Emily P. Freeman presented on her podcast, The Next Right Thing, on episode 307, What Worked in 2023. Absolutely worth listening to if you haven't yet. I'll have Lillian link to it in the show notes below. For me, a few things worked in 2023, a few didn't. Personally and professionally, it's been all the things, and I want to tell you more of that today. So on this, the 12th day of Christmas, the day of Epiphany, I'm going to tell you 12 things that matter to us, to you and me, this year. Since I started doing this episode as our first of the year, it's always been a state of the TSF Union sort of show. And so I want to do that today, update you in less than 12 ways about what is going on here. But I want to save a few of those 12 to also make this a state of the AFD speech as well. So let's start here. I'm really excited about 2024 on That Sounds Fun. I can't even believe this, but 2024 is our 10th year of this podcast. That is truly such a long time. But I am deeply grateful to each of you who listen, share, rate, review, buy things from our amazing partners, and respond to the episodes. And boy, it is a different day than when I started this show a decade ago at my dining room table, editing the episodes myself. I did a terrible job. Thank God for the editors and producers and engineers who have joined the team over the last decade. So, okay, let's start our list of 12. The 12 topics of 2024. That's terrible. That's terrible. Okay, number 1, if you are new around here, and you've wondered how we got to 10 years and how this whole thing got started, I talk a lot about that and the birth of this show in my New York Times bestseller, That Sounds Fun, the book. Literally, it's only a New York Times bestseller because of y'all, so thank you forever for that. If you haven't read that book, we've put it on sale at shopanniefdowns.com for $7 with the code TSF. It's my favorite number, so it only took me like 10 seconds to talk my merch team into making TSF a $7 book. Number 2, a confession. The episodes have not been numbered correctly for like years. So we're fixing that starting next week. It's a complicated story of how I didn't use the numbers to number series and just doing it with interview shows. And then people were like, congrats on 400. And we were actually at like 635, blah, blah, blah. It was dumb. So fixed. You'll notice that we've changed how we title the shows. The number is at the end now, and it only took the team like 10 years to talk me into making all those changes. Number 3, we are putting full episodes of That Sounds Fun up on YouTube. So if you want to watch these and watch the fun as well as listen, it'll be there for you. The link to watch and subscribe to my YouTube channel is in the show notes, and there's a lot of videos there actually, including me trying to make Dollywood cinnamon bread in my own home. Yikes. But starting with this show, every podcast will be there in video form. Okay, 3 down, 9 to go. Next, a very important question indeed. How are we going to celebrate the 10th year of the podcast? So number 4 of our 12, we've got lots of fun plans to roll out over the year. You'll notice that things look a little different in your podcast platform when you click on That Sounds Fun or on our website, Annie F. Downs, as you navigate around. And as you heard in our last episode of 2023, our pal Eddie Koffoltz will be here once a month as we do a recap of each of the last 10 years. For example, at the end of January, we are recapping 2014 and our lives in the world and pop culture and podcasting. This is going to be so crazy fun to have him back. And the next one, like 5 golden rings, might be the biggest epiphany of the whole show. So pay attention, people. Number 5, August 11th. Put that date on your calendar, like right now. You're going to want to be in Nashville that weekend, particularly that Sunday night, August 11th. 2024. Please save the date. Make your plans, book your Airbnb, text your gals, call your husband, grab your mom, grab your daughter. It's going to be the biggest party I've ever thrown. More details are coming soon, like very soon, but today is your official save the date. Sunday, August 11th, 2024, Nashville, you and me and friends and confetti. Okay, 2 other podcast things, which is helpful because I'm not actually sure I have 12 things to say. So here we go. Number 6. Gospel things. Lots of fun gospel things happening. First is that Annie's Mini BFF podcast returns on Monday with all gospel stories. We deeply love making things for your kids, so this is a joy to create. We also have a Mini BFF guidebook available that gives the kids a memory verse for every episode, a place to draw a picture for every episode, and a checkoff page as they hear each story. It's adorable. And the other is this. One of the things y'all have asked around Let's Read the Gospels is, could we do something together, like go through a month as a group in a deeper way? Yes. April 2024. Get ready. Remember, January to March is 1 chapter a day. Then April is a brand new thing. You're going to love it. Number 7, my favorite number, and I get to talk about the best part of this podcast. It's you. Our team loves making these shows for you. Craig, Johnny, Ashley, Lillian, Kate, Taylor Ann, Katie, myself, the TSF Network team. We genuinely love doing this. And a big reason we love it is because you are great to work for. So thank you. Thank you times a million. We wouldn't be at year 10 without you. And gosh, your kindness to the guests. It's literally what you are known for in the conversations people have about That Sounds Fun behind my back. And then someone tells me about it later. How supportive and kind our listening friends are. And I know you don't always agree with everything a guest says in the studio or what they've said in the past. Or there are times when you don't agree with something a guest does or says after they've been on the show. I get that. I've felt some of that too. But what is consistent is even in your disagreement, I have rarely seen our listener friends being the ones who lead the mob of unkindness. And that means a lot to me. Because that same slow to speak, slow to anger vibe that you extend to our guests, you extend to me. And I'm really thankful because I know you don't always agree with me either. Thank you for learning and growing alongside me and allowing me to make mistakes and missteps and misspeaks and in general, allowing me to be an evolving human who is growing and changing. This year, my biggest ask, if I can do that, is that you would share each episode with someone. Just text it to them or post on your social media. Get a podcast club together like a book club and y'all listen and chat. Invite new friends into our community. I think God has something special for us, but there are more friends you know that I don't know yet that might actually really love the conversations we are sharing. So please pass them on. Just pay attention to who pops in your mind as you listen and toss that episode over to them. Okay. 5 more to go, 5 more epiphanies, 5 more ideas. So let's take this state of TSF to the state of AFD for just a few minutes and how I am growing and changing. Number 8. If you follow me on Instagram, you saw a hint of this over New Year's, but I will be spending part of 2024 in New York City. I know that surprises approximately none of y'all except, well, me. It has honestly been a really fascinating experience. I genuinely suggest you try it. Do something out of your comfort zone and process big parts of it in front of people, your friends, your family, your social media, and pay attention to what they notice. Because y'all were telling me a few weeks into my time in New York that something was different, that something was worth paying attention to. I heard you, but I didn't, It was also scary to hear y'all saying that I looked like I was living my best life because what do you do when that is true in a city where you don't live? I didn't listen because I couldn't figure out what to do with what y'all were saying. But mostly I didn't listen because it made me feel afraid. So it's been a few weeks of wrestling and praying and listening to God and people in my life, and that includes you. And the story continues with me spending some time up there each month over the next year. So number 9. I want to keep listening to you. A big epiphany I've had personally over the last few weeks has been that as my career has grown and changed over the last 13 years, as this podcast has done the same over the last 10, my ability to hear and see you has changed too. But I really want to work on that. A lot because of New York, honestly, and how y'all have been so in it with me. And a lot because so often y'all say to me, we feel like friends, you and I feel that way too. And friends hear each other. So I want to hear you. Number 10. So New York. I have a place to stay there. I have friends there and a church I like. I'm not dating anyone there, though it deeply means a lot to me that y'all have asked and wondered and hoped. I also hope that this is the year where I will get to hard launch some wonderful man into my public life. But alas, that is not one of my 12 for you today. But pray I'm in, people. I will spend some time up there every month, probably do my summer Sabbath up in New York as well. I'll be doing my normal job just like I did in the fall, recording podcasts at the Hepzibah House, one of my favorite places. It's such a special place in the city. And also, I'll be writing. Finally, after 5 years, I think I'm ready to write a chapter book, memoir, nonfiction storytelling book again. I have loved writing devotionals and kids' books the last few years, but a longer one has started to bubble up in me, and I need to get it out of my body. I'll keep seeing Broadway shows and eating at great restaurants and going on long walks. I post all of that, remember, at the Instagram account AFD in NYC. That's the account I made about all the New York things. Overall, I have a lot of hope and joy and thankfulness about this. I also have some fear and what in the world, and is this even doable, and yikes about this too. So come along with me this year, and please keep talking to me. Number 11, when I started having this public job and writing about my life, I told myself 2 topics that were absolutely off the table: my body and being single. I didn't want to talk about either of those things. And for years and years, I didn't. But the longer we've been friends, the more I am hearing you, the more I'm paying attention to what is stirring in me and what feels the most tender but important. And I need to talk about them both. I tend to think my body is the least interesting thing about me, but I also recognize my age, 43, is when a lot of women start seeing lots of changes and making lots of new decisions and preparing for a whole new season of life. So I'm doing that too. And for some of us, statistically, we think half of us are single. So for probably half of us, we're navigating life in the decade we are in without a partner. And a big group of us, we are navigating changing bodies, whether you are 24 or 64, without having birthed children. But all of us, no matter stage or decade, home life, we are all living in our bodies and trying to figure out how to do that well. That's my story, at least. I'm here in midlife. My body is changing, and this isn't at all how I thought my life would look in this season. But I want to honor God and be as healthy as possible, body, soul, and spirit, so I can do this life for as long as possible. So I want to talk about that, which goes hand in hand with being single and dating and hoping, holding on and letting go. I want to talk about that more this year too. It is weird to talk about my dating life because it isn't just my story. And I want to be protective of myself and the man in my life in the seasons where there is one. But I'm going to try this year. And in some safe, closed spaces that we'll share soon, I'll be able to do that more openly and personally versus here where a guy's mom can get sent this podcast and her friend from college be like, wait, did your son just dump Annie F. Downs? Woof, that makes my stomach hurt to think about. So long-winded way to say Epiphany thought number 11 is that what has been off the table is no longer off the table. But I promise to try to hold these conversations with wisdom and hope and grace and care. And finally, number 12, Jesus Christ is the center of my life and the best thing that has ever happened to me. He saved me once, but he rescues me all the time. I'm a very flawed human being, and I don't say this with false humility. I say that as the person who hasn't missed a single one of my sins, who remembers my worst days of 8th grade and my worst days of 2023. And so it's from that flawed place that Jesus is constantly redeeming and making new that I create and record and write and live. I want and I hope to live daily for him and to him and with him. I want and I hope that everything we create that enters your life in big or small ways points you to him. No matter where you are in your own spiritual journey, you're 100% welcome here. You are 100% welcome here. But I hope our friendship opens us up to more of him, you and me both. That was surely on display in my life this fall. Your words in response to my New York adventure opened me up to the voice of God in ways that wouldn't have happened without you. I hope to return the favor this year. Okay. I think this podcast is officially the only thing longer than the 12 Days of Christmas song. But I had a lot to tell you. And I know I said it, but here it is again. Thank you. I am deeply grateful to get to spend my life doing this work and be in it with you. So I think that's it for me today, friends. Go out or stay home and do something that sounds fun to you, and I will do the same. Happy Epiphany. May we find Jesus this year, just like the wise men found Jesus on this day. And may we all lay gifts before him today, our hopes and dreams, our talents and plans, our very lives. I'll see you back here on Monday with a mind-blowing pastoring us into 2024 episode with one of the best, Pastor Banning Leafshire. We'll see y'all then. Also, you put August 11th on your calendar, right? Okay, good. We'll see y'all then too.
That sounds fun. That sounds fun. Oh!